Hey everyone, Ronan here, and welcome back to the channel. We got a lot to cover today, but before we get into that, we got to shout out the patron as always. So, Daniel Marsh, thank you very much for your support over on Patreon. And as always, analytics are very important, so please don't forget to drop a like and a comment to help fuel the algorithm, so that way the video will get to a larger audience. And if this is your first time here, please don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications, so that way you'll never miss another upload from the channel. And if you're interested in other Pokemon What If content, please head over to my Spotify where you can see exclusive content that I only place there. Currently, it's What If Paul challenged the Kalos League. And also, if you want to help the channel even further, please consider becoming a patron or a YouTube channel member. You'll get exclusive access to things that I don't put on the channel, like what you see on the screen here, and early access to everything that I do. But anyways, with all that being said, let's get into the reason why we're here. What if Indigo Champion Ash challenged the Battle Frontier? Part 7. I hope you enjoy. The air is thick with tension as Brandon, his team of scientists, Jesse, Meowth, and Spencer descend into the gaping fissure torn open by Registeel's awakening. The chamber walls glisten with ancient, otherworldly energies, pulsing faintly as if breathing. Brandon's scientists immediately set to work, snapping photographs and scribbling notes, their voices hushed but urgent. Every detail matters, Brandon barks, his sharp eye scanning the cavern. Eve will need all of this. There's something else here, something hidden, and we're not leaving until we uncover it, he commands, leaving no room for argument. But as the team scours the chamber, Brandon's instinct pull him elsewhere. He turns to Spencer, his voice low but demanding. Take me to the Sea Temple now. The weight of his words hangs heavy in the air. Spencer stiffens, his expression darkening. I can't, he replies firmly. I am the guardian. The temple is sacred. Only the people of the water may enter. The refusal sparks something dangerous in Brandon's gaze. A silent challenge. You don't understand, Brandon growls, stepping closer. This isn't a request. If you won't show me, I'll tear this island apart until I find it myself. His threat isn't empty. His resources, his determination, make it a very real possibility. Spencer's hand curls into a fist, his stance shifting as he braces for a battle. Then you leave me no choice, he says coldly. I won't let you desecrate my home. The tension snaps like a live wire until Jessie steps forward between them, her voice cutting through the hostility. Stop it, both of you. She glares at Spencer, frustration flickering in her eyes. I don't know why you're refusing to help, but you want the same thing he does, to stop whatever's coming, right? Spencer hesitates, his resolve wavering as Jessie softens, pleading, please. Something in her voice undoes him. Spencer exhales sharply, shoulders slumping in reluctant surrender. Fine, he mutters. I'll show you the way. But you take nothing from the temple. No artifacts, no relics, nothing physical. Disturbing them will trigger quakes that could sink the island. Brandon's jaw tightens, but after a tense beat, he gives a signal. A curt nod. Agreed. Spencer turns to Jessie, his voice quieter now. You're coming too. This is a place you should see. Jessie nods, then glances around. Meowth, you... She stops. The clever little Pokemon is nowhere in sight. A flicker of worry crosses her face, but she shakes it off. Don't worry about it. Meowth's probably with Spencer's team by now. Spencer frowns, but doesn't argue. If Meowth isn't entering the temple, then the risk is minimal. As the sun dips low on the horizon, casting the island into twilight, the three descend deeper towards the hidden sea temple. Above them, the Millennium Comet glows faintly in the darkened skies, its eerie light a silent omen. But Jessie was right about Meowth. While the others are distracted, the cunning feline has slipped away, creeping unseen into the chamber where Registeel once slumbered. Its small paws clutch the tracker it uses to locate the sea temple, the device now beeping intensely. Meowth's eyes gleam with greedy excitement. Another power source? One that matches the temple's crystals. A slow scheming grin spreads across its face. Heh. Looks like I got a head start, Meowth murmurs to himself. While Brandon and the others are preoccupied with the Sea Temple, it has its own mission. Find this new source of energy and claim it before anyone else can. The real game has only just begun. As Jessie and Meowth continue down the paths that are slowly dividing them between personal and professional missions, we shift over to the dim, neon-lit command center of the new Team Rocket base as it hums with tension, with James as he stands before a massive monitor, his silhouette sharp against the flickering screen. Shadowy figures loom within the display, their faces obscured, their voices distorted, cold, calculating. This is the Council. You assured us progress, James, one of them hisses, the words dripping with disdain. Yet we see nothing but empty promises. James clenches his jaw, but keeps his voice steady. With all due respect, the acquisition of the Mirage system was no small feat. Its potential is limitless. Potential means nothing without execution, another figure interrupts. You were chosen because you were the only one left with any semblance of competence after Giovanni's failure. But if you cannot deliver a viable power source for the Mirage system, then you will be no better than the fool who came before you. James's fingers twitch at this insult, but he doesn't rise to it. Not yet. Team Rocket will rise again, he insists. The Mirage technology will ensure that. We just need more time. Time is a luxury you no longer have, the lead figure declares. Either you produce results, or the council will find someone who can. Team Rocket will not tolerate weakness. The screen then cuts to black, plunging the room into silence. James exhales sharply, his gloved fists slamming into the console. The sound echoes through the chamber, a testament to his fury. From the shadows, Pierce materializes, his expression unreadable. That could have gone better, he remarks dryly. James doesn't look at him. Did we hear anything from Jesse Meowth? Pierce shakes his head. Nothing. Their last known trajectory was southeast of Kanto's mainland, but they vanished after 2 days. No updates in over a week. Another slam of James's fists happened. They were supposed to retrieve the power sources discreetly. Miyamoto was supposed to be the perfect leverage against Jesse, and no one would suspect Team Rocket's involvement of the gatherings of the crystals if Jesse was the one that was involved in the operation. James's voice is tight, frustration simmering beneath each word. And the other radiation signatures, James demands. One has grown significantly stronger, Pierce confirms. As the comet draws nearer, more will activate, but this one, we can pinpoint it within a mile. James's lips curl with a smirk. Good. Assemble your best operatives. It's time you took the field. Pierce tilts his head. And what will you do? Don't concern yourself with that, James replies, his voice low. This little chat with the council was enlightening. There's a traitor among us, and I intend to find them. With a slight nod, Pierce melts back into the shadows, leaving James alone with his thoughts. Every move must be calculated, every decision precise. One misstep, and his reign as leader of Team Rocket will crumble, just like Giovanni's before him. The game is in motion, and James has no intention of losing. With the gears within the Team Rocket organization beginning to crumble, we shift our perspective back to Ash, Misty, and Brock as the sun hangs low in the sky, and they finally arrive on the outskirts of their next destination, Pewter City. The familiar rocky terrain bringing a wave of nostalgia to Brock. Their journey to the battle tower can wait. Tonight, they'll rest in warm beds and catch up with Brock's family. Flint, his father, has been running the pewter gym in Brock's absence, and Ash is especially eager to see how things have changed since he first battled the gym years ago. But as they approach Brock's childhood home, the atmosphere shifts intensely. The moment the door swings open, Brock's younger siblings, Forrest, Salvador, and the rest tumble over each other in a frantic rush, their voices overlapping in panic babble. Ash and Misty exchange bewildered glances as Brock tries and fails to make sense of the chaos. Slow down, Brock finally barks, his voice deep, cutting through the noise like a whip. The room falls silent, one at a time. What is going on? Forrest, the second oldest, steps forward, his expression grim. It's the gym, Brock. There's a problem. Brock's stomach tightens. Damage? In a way, Forrest admits, exchanging uneasy looks with the others. You'll have to see it for yourself. With growing dread, the group hurries towards the pewter gym. But what they find is nothing like the sturdy stone fortress Brock once commanded. The once imposing structure is now splashed with garish colors, the entrance flanked by a delicate-looking Steelix and Aerodactyl, Brock's own Pokemon, their spirits crushed as they are covered in colorful paintings. Wait, what happened here? Brock whispers, his voice strained. Flint, sitting slumped outside, sighs heavily. Wasn't me, son. It was her. Her. Brock's blood runs cold. Your mother, Flint confirms. Lola came back. She said she was done traveling, that the gym was too cold, so she redecorated. Then she kicked me out and took over. Brock's hands clench into fists. She what? Before he can explode, Misty's sharp eyes dart around. Wait, where's Ammonite? Flint winces. She took it. Said since it was part water type, it belonged with someone who could make it look pretty in battle. Brock's vision swims with fury. He lunges for the gym door, but Flint grabs his arm. You can't go in now. She's in the middle of a battle. Forrest scoffs. Don't worry, it won't last long. Mom's lost every single match since she took over. 50 in a row. 50? Brock pales. One more loss, and the pewter gym could be decertified. His legacy, his family's livelihood, would be gone. No. Without another word, Brock shoves the doors open and storms inside, his voice booming across the battlefield. This battle is over. The scene before him is surreal. His mother, Lola, dressed in flamboyant, mismatched clothes, stands across from a challenger. Brock's Ammonite cowering before her, its shell painted in garish floral patterns. And the challenge. Paul? Ash blurts out. Paul's Curlia stands poised, a magical leaf suspended mid-air, inches from striking Ammonite. Both trainer and Pokemon turn, their expressions unreadable. Lola whirls on Brock, her face flushed with anger. How dare you interrupt my battle? This battle is void, Brock snaps, his tone leaving no room for argument. I am the registered gym leader. You have no authority here. He then turns to Paul, his jaw tight. I apologize for this. If you return tomorrow, I'll give you a real battle. The silence is suffocating. Ash holds his breath. Paul could take the easy win. But then, stand down, Curlia, Paul commands, recalling his Pokemon. His cold eyes flick to Lola with open disdain. I don't know who you are, but you don't belong in a gym. Then, to Brock's shock, Paul bows slightly, a rare show of respect. I'll be back tomorrow at noon. Don't disappoint me. As Paul strides out, Lola rounds on Brock livid. "How dare you humiliate me like this, Brock?" However, Brock ignores her, kneeling to gently wipe the paint from Ammonite's shell. The Pokemon chirps in relief, nuzzling his hand. "Stop that," Lola shrieks. "I spent hours on that design." Brock's voice is dangerously calm when he finally speaks. "Do you have any idea what you have done?" Lola tosses her hair. "I made this place beautiful. Trainers leave happy now. They all get badges." A quiet fury in Brock's eyes make Ash even step back. 50 losses. One more, and the league shuts down the gym. No more income, no more food for your children. This is where Lola pales. I didn't know. "You never know." Brock's voice cracks like thunder. "That's your excuse, every time. You act without thinking, without caring about who gets hurt." He stands tall, his gaze unyielding. "Go home. Be a parent for once in your life, and stay out of my gym." Flint, shamefaced, leads a sputtering Lola away. The moment the door closes, Brock exhales, his shoulders sagging. Ash claps a hand on his back. "We've got your back, bro. We'll fix this." Misty nods firmly. "We'll work all through the night if we have to." Forrest then steps forward, with his other siblings behind him. "We're not letting our gym fall. We're helping too." For the first time since arriving, Brock finally smiles. Then, let's get to work. The night is long, and the task is enormous, but as paint is scrubbed away, water drained, and the stone walls restored, the pewter gym begins to feel like home again, and by dawn, when Paul returns, it will be ready for a real battle. So, as their children get to work, the tension is thick as Lola storms into the house of her family, her fury radiating off of her in waves. Flint follows close behind, his voice calm but firm as he tries to reason with her. "Lola, just take a second and think about what Brock said." "No," Lola whirls on him, her eyes blazing. "Brock has no right to kick me out of the gym. Who does he think he is? He abandoned his duties as gym leader, left his family. Just like we did," Flint says. The words hit Lola like a physical blow, and her patience snaps. "That's not true," she growls, her voice sharp but low. Flint tells Lola that Brock didn't abandon anyone. "We left to chase our dreams, and he stepped up. He took care of his siblings, kept the gym running, fed them, while we were doing nothing with our lives." His hands clench into fist at his sides. "We failed them, Lola. We failed them as parents. The difference is, I can admit it. I know I wasn't there when they needed me, and I'm trying to make up for that. But you still refuse to see it." Lola's face twists in anger, her frustration now fully directed at Flint. "You don't get to judge me." "I'm not judging you," Flint interrupts, his voice steady but heavy with exhaustion. "But I'm done letting you run from this. Every time we have this conversation, you leave because you can't face the truth. And I've always hoped, maybe this time, you'll stay. Maybe this time, you'd choose us." He exhales sharply, his shoulders sagging. "But you haven't. And the kids deserve parents who put them first. If you can't do that, then you shouldn't be here." Lola's breath catches, her anger faltering for just a second before she lashes out again. "You're being selfish. You're denying them their mother." Flint shakes his head, his expression pained but resolute. "No, I'm protecting them. Protecting them from a mother who can't stay, who can't put them before herself." He then steps back, turning towards the door. "I'll always love you, but when they get back, don't be here." And with that, he walks out, leaving Lola standing in stunned silence. Moments later, Flint arrives, as the gym is alive with activity. Brock, Ash, Misty, and the others have made impressive progress. The walls are scrubbed, the battlefield has been repaired and drained from the pool that his mother had turned it into, and the debris has been cleared. Brock glances up at Flint as he enters, his brow furrowing. "Where's Mom?" Flint doesn't meet his eyes. Instead, he kneels beside a scuffed wall and picks up a rag, scrubbing at a stubborn stain. "Your mother is doing what your mother does best," he says quietly. Brock's jaw tightens, but he doesn't pressure further. The unspoken truth hangs heavy between them. The gym falls into a tense, weary silence as everyone returns to work. Hours later, just as the first hints of dawn creep over the horizon, the exhausted group trudges back to the house. Ash and Misty mumble sleepy goodnights before disappearing into their rooms, and Brock drags himself to bed without another word. No one has the energy to dwell on Lola's absence, but Flint notices. When he steps into the bedroom, the air is different. The bed is neatly made, untouched, and there, on his nightstand, sits a single note with his name on it. He closes the door behind him, takes a deep breath, and picks it up. He doesn't read it. Not yet. Instead, he sits it back down, turns off the light, and lies in the dark, staring at the ceiling, knowing that when morning comes, he'll have to face another day without her. Again. A few hours later, as the sun reaches high noon, the pewter gym buzzes with an entirely different energy than the day before. The once dusty arena now glows under the polished stone surfaces, the air fresh instead of stale. Brock stands tall, across from Paul, his usual calm demeanor sharpened with quiet determination. Above in the rafters, Ash, Misty, Flint, and all of Brock's younger siblings watch intently, their younger ones fidgeting with excitement. Misty leans forward, arms crossed, her eyes flickering between the two trainers. "I hope Brock isn't too worn out from all that cleaning yesterday," she murmurs, biting her lip. Ash, ever the optimist, grins and waves waves a hand dismissively. Nah, this'll be a piece of cake. Brock's a gym leader, a strong one, and Paul doesn't stand a chance. Misty shoots him a skeptical look. You really don't remember battling Paul, do you? She counters. Even you had trouble with him last time. Ash scoffs, crossing his arms. Only 'cause I was using my newer Pokemon. If I was using my other ones like Charizard and the rest that were at the lab, Paul would have been toast. Misty rolls her eyes. Your confidence is astounding. Maybe reel it in before your head gets too big to fit through the gym doors. Ash just smirks. You're worried for nothing. Brock's got this. Misty sighs, realizing she won't change his mind, and turns her attention back to the battlefield. Down below, Brock locks eyes with Paul, his voice steady but firm. First, I owe you an apology for yesterday's battle. My mother was pretending to be the gym leader. She wasn't certified to officiate, but I am. As the official leader of the Pewter Gym, I, Brock, accept your challenge. Paul studies him for a moment before nodding, his usual cold expression softening just slightly. I get it. Family pretending to be something they're not, his gaze flickering towards Flint for a brief second before returning to Brock. I thought this gym was a joke, but after seeing how much you care about fixing things in just one day, my opinion has changed. You're nothing like that fraud of a trainer your mother is. A few of Brock's siblings gasp, and one of his younger brothers jumps to his feet. Fists clench, but Flint quickly rests a hand on his shoulder, shaking his head. Easy. This is a gym battle. Respect the match. Brock doesn't react to this jab at his mother, though his grip on his Pokeball tightens ever so slightly. Instead, he offers Paul a small, respectful bow. Thank you for the second chance. And to make up for yesterday, he straightens, his eyes burning with quiet intensity. I'm going to give you the hardest battle the Pewter Gym has to offer. The tension is palpable as both trainers raise their Pokeball in unison. As the crowd above holds its breath, the battle is about more than just a badge. It's about pride, respect, and proving what it truly means to be a gym leader, which Brock has every intention to do as he stands opposite from Paul, their eyes locked in a fierce determination. Brock's Sudowoodo sways swiftly as it's sent from its Pokeball, its wooden arms poised for battle, while Paul decides to call upon his Heracross as it flexes its powerful horn, eager to strike. Paul wastes no time, commanding his Heracross start with a Swords Dance. The beetle Pokemon's muscles tense as it raises its arms, its attack power sharply increasing. Brock grins. Not bad, but Sudowoodo won't go down easy. Hammer Arm! The Rock-type lunges forward, its heavy arm swinging down, but Heracross dodges at the last second, retaliating with the crushing Focus Punch straight to Sudowoodo's torso. The super effective fighting-type move sends Sudowoodo skidding back, its rocky body groaning under the impact. Brock winces, but stays focused. Shake it off. Woodhammer! Sudowoodo charges its arms, glowing with the energy as it slams into Heracross. The bug-type staggers, but its tough exoskeleton lessens the blow. Paul simply smirks. Now, Mega Horn! Heracross's horn glows bright as it rams into Sudowoodo, the bug-type attack dealing heavy damage. Brock's jaws tighten once again. Sudowoodo is taking too much punishment. Alright, Double Edge, full power, he commands. With a roar, Sudowoodo hurls itself forward, crashing into Heracross with an explosive force. But thanks to Rockhead, it doesn't take any recoil. Heracross hisses, clearly hurt, but still standing. Paul crosses his arms. Not bad, but Heracross isn't done yet. Smart Strike. The honed warrior dashes, landing a precise, unavoidable hit. The sheer force of this attack due to the stat increase that Heracross had gained earlier in the battle is enough to send Sudowoodo crashing into the gym wall, leaving everyone in a stunned silence. Brock quickly raises his Pokeball. Good work, Sudowoodo. Take a rest now. As the red beam recalls his Pokemon, Brock turns to Paul, and he nods. You're as strong as I've watched during your battles with Ash, but this battle is far from over. However, Paul doesn't seem to be intimidated by this, as he chooses to keep in Heracross for their next battle, while Brock decides that it's time for him to send in something a little bit more powerful, as he calls upon Aerodactyl. The ancient Pokemon screeches, and its wings spread wide, as it's eager to strike. Let's go, Aerodactyl! Thunderfang, Brock commands, wasting no time. Aerodactyl dives like a bolt of lightning, fangs crackling with electricity. Heracross braces itself, but the attack lands hard, teeth sinking in as sparks surge through its body. Heracross roars, and paralysis take hold, its muscles locking up, but then its eyes blaze with fury. Its guts ability has been activated, and its attack begins to soar despite the paralysis. Now, Heracross, Swords Dance again, Paul shouts. Heracross grits its teeth, forcing its paralyzed limbs to move as it spins, and its energy sharpens its resolve, its attack skyrocketing even further. Brock smirks. Not bad. Your Heracross has some determination, but Aerodactyl isn't scared, and neither am I. Now, use Dual Wing Beat. Aerodactyl swoops in, its wings slamming Heracross twice in rapid succession. The bug-type stumbles, but stays standing. Now, Mega Horn, Paul orders. Heracross charges, its horn glowing bright and purple, and it rams into Aerodactyl with devastating force. The rock flying type screeches in pain as the bug move hits, nearly knocking it out of the sky. Brock clenches his fist. Giga Impact! Finish this! Aerodactyl rockets forward, its body wraith in raw power. The attack slams Heracross into the ground with a thunderous crash, dust exploding outward. And when it clears, Heracross lies motionless. Heracross is unable to battle, the referee calls. Paul says nothing as he returns his Pokemon, giving the Pokeball a look of disdain, as if he was expecting more out of Heracross, while Brock exhales, watching Aerodactyl pant heavily, barely staying airborne. Too close, but we pulled it off. Aerodactyl lets out a weak cry, victorious but battered, proof of Heracross's relentless power. However, Paul observes his fatigue as Aerodactyl screeches, its wings trembling slightly from its fight with Heracross. With a smirk, Paul knows exactly who he's going to be sending out next, as he calls upon his Metagross to stand by for battle. The Steel Titan lands with a heavy thud, its four-clawed legs digging into the ground. Playing defensively now, Brock calls out, wiping sweat from his brow, "Aerodactyl, show him you're not done yet. Use another Giga Impact." The Rock-type rockets forward once again in a blinding rush, its body wraithed in devastating energy. But Paul is ready. "Reflect," he commands. Metagross's eyes flash blue as a shimmering barrier springs up around it. The Giga Impact crashes into the shield with a thunderous boom, but the barrier holds, softening the blow. Aerodactyl staggers back, panting from the recoil, forcing it to recover. "Now, Zen Headbutt," Paul orders. Metagross's body glows with psychic energy before it lunges, slamming into the massive head of Aerodactyl. The rock flying type screeches in pain as it's sent skidding back across the battlefield. Brock grits his teeth. "Thunderfang, quick, Aerodactyl!" The flying type's fangs crackle with electricity once again as it dives in, clamping down on Metagross's steel-plated body. The electricity courses through, but Metagross barely flinches, its steel tightening lessening the damage. Paul doesn't let up. "Now use Flash Cannon." Metagross rears back before firing a beam of steel energy, shaking the earth violently. Aerodactyl cries out as the steel-type move rips through it, its wings flapping widely to stay aloft. Brock knows his Pokemon is on its last legs. "Quick, Dragon Pulse!" Aerodactyl fires a Dragonic Blast, but Metagross tanks the hit, its defenses still bolstered by Reflect. "This is it. Finish it." "Flash Cannon once more," Paul commands. Metagross's core glows white-hot before unleashing a searing beam of steel energy once again. The attack strikes true, and Aerodactyl collapses, finally defeated. Brock lets out a sigh, returning his fallen Pokemon. "Good try, Aerodactyl." He then looks up to Paul with a grin. That Reflect really sealed the deal. "Well played." However, Brock says nothing, as Metagross was the right call in his eyes, and the steel behemoth lets out a metallic hum, victorious and satisfied with his battle performance. However, Brock exhales sharply, gripping his last Pokeball. "No choice now," he mutters before hurling it into the battlefield. With a deafening roar, Steelix erupts on the ground, its metallic body gleaming under the arena lights. The summoning of his oldest Pokemon has caused Paul to reconsider his options, and he recalls his Metagross. Then he immediately throws another Pokeball. "Camerupt, stand by for battle." The fire type emerges, its volcanic hump already steaming with pent-up heat across the battlefield. Paul looks on, knowing that he's going to have to play defensively, so he calls for a sandstorm. A swirling tempest of grit and wind engulfs the field, obscuring the vision of everyone. But Paul isn't fazed. "You think a little sand is going to stop us?" Eruption, full power. Camerupt's entire body begins to glow red before unleashing a catastrophic explosion of fire and molten rock. The sandstorm dampens some of the flames, but the sheer force of the attack slams into Steelix as the sandstorm is dissipated, its steel body superheated by the fire-type move. The massive serpent reels, groaning in pain as the heat takes its toll. Brock looks on, and he knows he's out of options. It's now or never. Time to go beyond. Brock then raises something that he's been holding on to, his keystone. A radiating light begins to engulf Steelix as he activates it, and this is when everyone begins to gasp as the serpentine Pokemon grows larger, and its body is reforged into jagged, crystalline steel, and Mega Steelix erupts from the transformation. Paul's eyes narrow. Mega Evolution, huh? Let's see how it's handled. Just before Brock had initiated the Mega Evolution, Ash and Misty were exchanging worried glances, as if Steelix were to take another hit like that, then it could have been knocked out, and with Steelix being Brock's only Pokemon, there's no way he would be able to turn it around. However, this is when a slow, knowing smile spreads across Forrest's face. He crosses his arms, and he says confidently unwavering, "Just watch," his voice steady. Brock's not even close to losing yet, and this was on cue, as Brock raised his hand, with the keystone gleaming, and Ash and Misty watch as Steelix took on its new form. This causes Ash's jaw to drop, his eyes wide in shock. Whoa, what just happened? Steelix looks totally different. He whips his head towards Forrest, desperate for answers. "What is that?" Misty's eyes spark with recognition, and she smirks, crossing her arms. "That's Mega Evolution, Ash. It's a huge deal over in Hoenn. Only the strongest trainers can pull it off." She glances back at Brock, admiration flashing in her gaze. For him to have a Megastone and a Keystone, that's not something just anyone can get. Ash's excitement ignites like a wildfire. "That's insane! I've got to learn how to do that." Forrest chuckles, nodding towards the battlefield. "Then you better pay attention, because Brock's about to show you what a real gym leader can do." With a renewed energy, Ash and Misty lean forward, their earlier doubts forgotten. "All right, Brock," Ash cheers, pumping his fist. "Show him what you've got." Misty grins, her voice ringing out beside him. "You've got this." However, if anyone has something to say about that, it's going to be Paul, and his Camerupt, as the scorching heat is still lingering in the air. With a determined glint in his eye, Paul recalls Camerupt, and then sends back in Metagross. "Finish this." The massive steel psychic type lands with a heavy thud, its four legs bracing against the rocky terrain. Across the battlefield, Brock's Mega Steelix looms, its jagged metallic body gleaming under the gym lights. Paul wastes no time. Metagross, set up Reflect. The air shimmers as the translucent barrier forms around the Iron Juggernaut, bolstering its already formidable defense. Brock grins, arms crossed. Not bad, but Steelix doesn't need tricks to win. Rock Polish. Mega Steelix's body gleams as its speed sharply increases, its movement becoming fluid despite its massive size. Metagross acts first, its mind pulsating with psychic energy. Zen Headbutt, Paul commands. The colossal Pokemon lunges forward, its silver skull glowing with a violet aura as it slams into Mega Steelix's armored body. The steel ground type staggers, but quickly retaliates with a devastating iron tail. Its tail glows white hot before crashing down onto Metagross. The impact sends tremor through the battlefield, but Metagross holds firm, its Reflect softening the blow. Brock isn't letting up. Stone Edge. Jagged rocks erupt from the ground, striking Metagross from below. The super powerful attack makes the steel psychic type real, but Paul counters swiftly. Flash Cannon. Metagross's core glows brightly before firing a searing beam of condensed light, striking Mega Steelix on the head. The Iron Snake roars in pain from how close it is. Knowing he needs to put up another barrier, Brock wipes the grit from his face, commanding a sandstorm again. Mega Steelix howls as it whips up another swirling tempest of sand, but this time Paul smirks. Now, Earthquake! Metagross rears up before slamming down with crushing force, shaking the earth violently. The ground splits beneath Mega Steelix, dealing massive damage, its dual steel ground typing feeling the super effectiveness of the move, backed by the sheer power of Metagross. Both Pokemon are barely standing, their metallic bodies dented and scorched. Brock's eyes narrow. One last Iron Tail. Mega Steelix swings with all of its might, but Paul is already reaching for Metagross's Pokeball. Not this time. Return! He recalls Metagross just as Steelix's tail whips through the empty air. As the sandstorm fades, Paul sends out Camerupt one last time, its fiery presence a stark contrast to the brutal clash of steel. The Steel Serpent is breathing heavily. Despite its fatigue, Mega Steelix coils, ready to strike at the command of its trainer. Brock grits his teeth. Alright, Steelix, one last push. Stone Edge. Mega Steelix roars, summoning jagged rocks that erupt from the ground, hurtling towards Camerupt. Paul smirks. Dodge and hit with Eruption once more. Camerupt sidesteps just in time, avoiding the worst of the attack, before its backed volcano erupts in a catastrophic wave of fire. The super effect blast engulfs Mega Steelix, the flames intensifying as Camerupt roars. Then, as the fire and magma fades, the Steel Serpent staggers, then collapses with a thunderous crash. This causes a moment of silence to watch over the gym, as Mega Steelix reverts back to its regular form. With a deep sigh, Brock recalls his fallen Pokemon. You fought hard, Steelix. Rest now. He then turns to Paul and offers a respectful nod. That was a great battle, and you've earned the Boulder Badge. He holds out the gleaming badge, but Paul's expression remains unimpressed. Thanks, Paul says, before taking the badge. But I did expect more. The pewter gym isn't a joke like I thought, but you're out of practice as a gym leader. I didn't get the best battle you could have given me. Ash watches from the sidelines and snaps. You don't know what you're talking about. Brock's an amazing trainer. However, Paul doesn't even glance at him. I'm just stating facts. He then pockets the gym badge and turns towards the exit. Still, thanks for the real battle, Brock, Paul says, before he vanishes. It is here that Ash, Misty, Forest, and Flint all rush to join Brock, their footsteps crunching over the scattered pebbles and patches of scorched earth. Though the battle may be over, the air still crackles with excitement. Ash grins, clenching his fist. That was awesome, Brock. Even if you lost, Mega Steelix was insane out there. Misty nods in agreement, crossing her arms. Yeah, I've never seen anything like that. How did you even get a Megastone? Brock wipes the sweat from his brow, still catching his breath, when Flint steps forward with a knowing smirk. Well, I might have had something to do with that, he admits, rubbing the back of his neck. Back when I was still a traveling trainer, I held on to a keystone. Never found the right partner for it, until now. Brock nods, his expression softening. And the Steelix site? I found that in Kalos a while back while I was studying there. But this was the first time I've ever had to use it. Steelix and I haven't battled since Jasmine and I teamed up in Johto. His voice carries a hint of nostalgia before his gaze shifts to Flint, his tone serious. Speaking of family, where's Mom? A heavy silence falls, and Flint's eyes drop to the ground, his jaw tightening. Brock exhales sharply, his shoulders slumping just slightly. He doesn't need an explanation. Lula's absence says everything. She's gone again, chasing her own dreams, leaving the rest of them behind. Ash, ever oblivious to the tension, bounces on his heels, eyes sparking with curiosity. So Brock, are you going to bring Steelix with us? It'd be so cool to train with the Mega Evolution before we hit the next battle facility. Misty elbows him, but Brock chuckles, shaking off the lingering weight of the moment. Sure, Ash, Steelix could use the experience. That night, the group stays at Brock's family home one more time, sharing stories and laughter over one of Flint's famously questionable stews. But by morning, it's time to move on. Forrest and Flint stand at the doorway, waving as Ash, Misty, and Brock prepare to leave. Brock pauses, turning back to his father with a stern look. Dad, you have to get the gym in order. 51 straight losses means the league is going to investigate. They might shut us down. Flint waves him off with a confident smirk. Don't worry about it, son. I'll handle things here. With that, the trio sets off, the rising sun casting long shadows behind them. Misty squints at the horizon. So where is the next battle facility anyway? Brock adjusts his bag, nodding ahead. It's called the Battle Tower. It's near Cremini Town. Ash's face lights up. A battle tower. That sounds amazing. Let's go. So, as Ash pushes forward, forcing Misty and Brock to catch up to him, we shift perspective back over to Metallica Island, where we see the sun casting a golden glow across the sandy shores where Meowth now sits, claws idly flickering with its broken tracker in its paws. The device, yet again, has given up. But for once, Meowth isn't cursing or scrambling to fix it. Instead, there's an eerie calm in its posture, a quiet satisfaction as the waves lap at the sand. Then, footsteps crunch behind it. There you are, Jessie's voice cut through the salty breeze, sharp with irritation. Where have you been? We've been looking everywhere. Meowth doesn't even glance up. Doesn't matter, it says smoothly, finally tossing its tracker aside. Are you done yet? 'Cause let's face it, we ain't getting what we need with this crowd here. Time to move on to the next spot. Jessie's eyes narrow. Something seems off. Meowth isn't whining, isn't scheming. It's dismissive. Since when are you in such a hurry to leave, she demands, crossing her arms. Spencer's hiding something about my mother. I can feel it. And James is holding back info too, Meowth counters, its tail flickering. We got 3 more stops. Then you can get all the answers you need. And then we can finally ditch with this wild Meowth chase. Jessie hesitates, teeth sinking into her lips. It's true. Between Brandon snarling at Spencer like a territorial Arcanine and the whole island buzzing with scientists, she's got no opening to talk to Spencer. Fine, she mutters. Give me an hour. There's one last thing I needed to do. Without another word, she vanishes into the tree line, leaving Meowth alone. But Meowth isn't bored. Far from it. With a slow, deliberate motion, it presses a hidden button on the dead tracker. Deep below the waves, something stirs. A swell. A shadow. Something massive shifting between the surface before gliding silently away from the island. Meowth smirks, stretching out into the sand. Ah, nice when plans come together without a hitch. An hour later, the Magikarp submarine bobs in the shallows before submerging with a quiet bloop. Inside, Jessie and Meowth pedal ferociously, the mechanical fins whirring as they put distance between themselves and Metallica Island. Through the periscope, Jessie hesitates, her gaze lingering on the shrinking silhouette of Metallica Island. Where's the next place we need to go, Jessie says, to which Meowth says, oh, don't worry, their next stop is going to be on the borders of Kanto and Johto. After all, they ain't gonna search themselves. So, as the submarine cuts through the dark water, Meowth leans back, claws laced behind its head. No rush, no chaos, just the hum of the machinery and the quiet thrill of secrets kept. For once, everything's going according to plan, as him and Jessie continue to pedal towards their next destination. With Jessie and Meowth vanishing from the sights of everyone back on Metallic Island, the frantic research continues within the battle pyramid. Scientists scramble to catalog every scrap of information recovered from the cavern and the sea temple, their voices a low hum of urgency. Among them, Brendan and Spencer stand locked in a heated exchange, their words sharp and unyielding. You're a fool to have kept this from me, Brandon snaps, his voice cutting through the noise of the lab, his fists clutch at his side, his usual composure fraying. All of this, the destruction, the chaos, it could have been prevented if you had just been honest. Spencer Weather's face tightens, his eyes shadowed with something deeper than regret. You don't understand the forces you're meddling with, he replies, his voice grave. Those titans you command, they have another master. The Reggies obey you now, yes, but their seals have been broken. If the others awaken, if their prisons shatter completely, then a great evil will return to this world, and no one, not even you, will be safe. Brandon scoffs, his patience wearing thin. I don't have time for cryptic warnings, old man. If you know something, say it plainly. Spencer opens his mouth to respond, but before he can, a sharp beep interrupts him. Brandon's communicator flares to life. Eve is calling, and with urgency in the alert leaving no room for delay, this isn't over, Brandon growls, already turning towards the exit. Come with me. You can finish your story once we've heard what she has to say. Without waiting for a reply, Brandon strides off, Spencer following reluctantly behind. The halls of the battle pyramid hum with tension as they make their way to the command center, where Eve's face flickers on the main screen. Her expression is grim, her usual calm replaced by focused intensity. I've decoded the glyphs from each site, she begins without preamble. They tell a story of an ancient king who once ruled over Kanto with an iron fist, but the people of the land and the water refused to bow to him. They believed his soul was malevolent, so they formed their own kingdom in the south, using the powers of nature to defend himself. She pauses, her fingers tapping rapidly across the keyboard as more data streams onto the screen. But they underestimated him. With the power of 6 titans, the king waged war that ravaged the entire region, turning allies into enemies. He exploited the chaos, enslaving all of those who dare oppose him. Brandon's jaw tightens as he listens, his gaze flickering towards Spencer, who stands silent, his face unreadable. For 1,000 years, the king ruled through endless conflicts, Eve continues. Then, when the Millennium Comic returned, he sought its power. To what end, the records don't say. That's where the story breaks off. Brandon exhales sharply, his eyes boring into Spencer. You knew all of this, and you said nothing? Eve interrupts before Spencer can respond. There's more. Hidden within the ruin's walls is a map, a pattern. The order in which the Reggies awaken points to the next in the chain. She pulls up a holographic projection, lines of ancient scripts arranging themselves in a clear sequence. First was Regirock, sealed on Cinnabar Island, then Regice, in the ruins of Pokemopolis. According to this, the next should be Registeel, already awakened. Brandon cuts her off, and captured. He transmits the data from Registeel's tomb to Eve with a swift command. Can you pinpoint the next awakening? Eve nods, though her brow furrows. Give me time. I'll cross-reference this, and I'll send you the coordinates as soon as I have them. With that, the screen goes dark, leaving the room in heavy silence. Brandon turns slowly to Spencer, his voice dangerously calm. If there's anything else you haven't told me, now's the time to speak. Spencer releases a long, weary sigh, as if carrying the weight of centuries. None of the other Titans can awaken, he murmurs. If they do, the seal will break. Brandon's expression hardens, his gaze unflinching. Then start talking, he demands, and this time, leave nothing out. As Spencer begins to inform Brandon on the graveness of the situation, we move over to Ash, Misty, and Brock as they trek a forest, a week's worth of traveling behind them since they left Pewter City. The air hums with energy, not just from the wild Pokemon rustling in the underbrush, but of the relentless training sessions that Ash has thrown himself into. Pikachu and Drapion have become an unstoppable duo, their bond strengthening with each passing day. Sparks fly as Pikachu launches itself into another Volt Tackle, while Drapion counters with a razor-sharp Aerial Ace, the two moves colliding in a brilliant flash of light and force. That's the way, you two, Ash cheers, his fists clenched in excitement. Keep pushing each other. The two Pokemon lock eyes, a silent understanding passing between them. They're not just training partners anymore, they're rivals, pushing each other to new heights. Meanwhile, Vulpix and Ursaluna sit off to the side, their training sessions far less intense. Ursaluna lets out a deep, rumbling yawn before flopping over onto its belly, its massive frame shaking the ground. Come on, Ursaluna, just one more, Ash calls, but the sleepy beast only grunts in response, already halfway to a nap. Vulpix, still more playful than disciplined, its icy breath puffing out little clouds as it tries to coax the armored Pokemon into a game, but Rhydon isn't in the mood. Its heavy tail thrashes about in the dirt, frustration rolling off of it in waves. Another loss in battle, another blow to its pride. Rhydon, you can't give up, Brock says firmly, placing a hand on its shoulder. Every battle is a chance to learn. Rhydon huffs, its eyes burning with determination, until seconds later, the fire dims, replaced by a sullen slump of its shoulders. The cycle repeats. One more, it's ready to train harder than ever. The next, it's lost in self-doubt. Ash notices this, and he thanks Brock for trying to console the rock type. However, there is another problem that he has to deal with. Kadabra. Ever since the Battle Factory, something has been different. It still keeps to itself, vanishing into the trees to train alone, its spoons glowing faintly as it hones its psychic abilities. But the air around it feels heavier now, charged with something Ash can't quite place. Kadabra, wait up, Ash calls as the psychic type turns to leave again. Let's train together this time. We're a team, right? Kadabra pauses, its back still turned, and for a moment, Ash thinks he's gotten through to it, but then a cold wave crashes over him. Dark, fragmented memories flood Ash's mind. Paul's harsh commands, Kadabra's pained cries, the crashing weight of abandonment. His breath catches, his chest tightening as if an unseen force is pressing down on him. Just as quickly as it came, the feeling vanishes, leaving Ash shaken. Kadabra doesn't look back, it simply disappears into the trees once more. Ash exhales sharply, running a hand through his hair. He doesn't understand what's happening, but with each failed attempt to reach Kadabra, a small piece of him hesitates to try again. The doubt is subtle, buried deep, so deep that even Misty and Brock haven't noticed the shift in him, but it's there. Still, Ash has refused to let it show. If Kadabra won't train with him, he'll focus on the others, and with Brock's Mega Steelix now traveling alongside them, the opportunity is too good to pass up. Alright, Steelix, let's see what you've got. Ash grins as the colossal serpent rears up, its mega-evolved form gleaming under the sunlight. Pikachu's cheeks spark with anticipation. Drapion braces itself, and even Rhydon for once lifts its head intrigued, while Ursaluna just fades off to another nap. Misty watches from the sidelines, her Staryu spinning eagerly at her feet. You know, she muses, I may never have used Mega Evolution myself, but watching it up close, that's something special. Brock nods, his arms crossed. It's not just about the power. It's about the bond. And right now, he smirks as Steelix lets out a thunderous roar. I'd say we're seeing that bond in action. Ash grins, the earlier tension momentarily forgotten. Then, let's make the most of it. Everyone, give it everything you've got. The forest erupts in a symphony of cries, attacks, and determination. But somewhere, in the shadows unseen, Kadabra watches, its spoons twitching, its expression unreadable. Whatever battle it's fighting, it's far from over. However, the days roll by, and in steady rhythm of traveling and training until, at last, another week passes. Ash, Misty, and Brock finally arrive at their destination, Cremini Town. Quaint settlement nestled near the natural boundary between Kanto and Johto, known as Tojo Falls. The crisp mountain air carries a scent of pine, and the distant roar of the falls echo like a consistent hum in the background. Their first stop, the Pokemon Center. Ash is determined to earn his 6th Frontier symbol today, but after days of intense training, his team needs a thorough checkup before they get into a big battle. As the trio steps inside, they spot Nurse Joy assisting another trainer at the counter, a young woman with the air of quiet confidence. She, like Ash, has clearly been through rigorous training. This is Annabelle. The moment she glances up and sees Ash, Misty, and Brock approaching, something about Ash strikes her as off. It's subtle, like a shadow clinging to him, something dark and unseen. But his demeanor is as bright and energetic as ever. Maybe I'm just imagining things, she thinks, shaking off the strange feeling before introducing herself with a polite smile. Ash explains their reason for being here, his challenge at the battle tower, and Annabelle's eyes light up with interest. I actually work there, she says, her voice smooth and measured. Once Nurse Joy finishes with our Pokemon, I'd be happy to show you the way. But before Ash can pump his fist in excitement, Nurse Joy delivers some devastating news. With so many Pokemon to examine, she won't be done until well after dinner time. Ash's shoulders slump. But I wanted to get my Frontier symbol today, he groans, frustration creeping into his voice. Annabelle chuckles softly. Patience is a virtue, Ash. Cremini Town has plenty of things to offer in the meantime, so let me show you around. With no other options, the group follows Annabelle through the charming streets of Cremini Town. They visit cozy cafes, browse small shops, and even stop off at an ice cream parlor that sends Misty into a frenzy. Her sweet tooth takes over, and she orders the most extravagant sundae on the menu, grinning as she digs in. The relaxed atmosphere sparks conversation, and Annabelle, curious about the Kanto champion's presence here, decides to break the ice. So Ash, she begins, tilting her head, why is the champion of Kanto challenging the battle frontier? Shouldn't you be preparing for a title defense? Ash leans back in his chair, lacing his fingers behind his head. Being champion got boring after a while. I wanted a real challenge, trainers who could push me to my limits. Annabelle raises an eyebrow. And has the frontier given that to you? Ash's expression shifts slightly, a flicker of something unreadable passing over his face. I've won 5 of the 7 symbols so far. The battles have been tough, sure, but he hesitates, then sighs. None of them have felt impossible. Even Greta, she had those crazy strong Alolan Pokemon I had never seen before, and I still won. At the mention of Greta, Annabelle's gaze drifts away, lost in thought for a brief moment, until Ash waves his hand in front of her face. Hey, you okay? She blinks, snapping back. Yes, just remembered something that I needed to take care of later. She studies Ash carefully, that strange darkness around him flickering at the edges of her vision, but she says nothing. Ash, oblivious, continues. Don't get me wrong, this journey has been amazing. I've met new Pokemon, helped my team grow stronger, and even reunited with these two. He gestures to Misty and Brock, who exchange knowing smiles. But the challenge I was looking for, it's starting to feel like it's slipping away. Annabelle's fingers taps lightly against the table. Maybe you just haven't met the right opponent yet, she murmurs. Ash perks up at that. Speaking of opponents, how long have you worked at the Battle Tower? What's the Frontier Brain like? Annabelle folds her hands neatly in front of her. 3 years here in Kanto. Before that, I was at the Sinnoh Battle Tower. Scott recruited me personally. Wait, where is Scott anyway? Ash interrupts. He usually shows up by now to hype up the next battle. He's busy, Annabelle replies smoothly, always searching for the next worthy challenger. But I'm sure he'll be here tomorrow to watch your match. Ash leans forward, his eyes gleaming. So tell me about the Frontier Brain. Are they strong? What kind of Pokemon do they use? Annabelle's lips curl into a faint, knowing smile. If your measurement of strength is by titles or raw power, then no. The Tower Tycoon is the weakest of all of the Kanto brains. Ash blinks. Huh? Then how? They've only lost 1 battle since arriving in the Kanto region, Annabelle continues, her voice low and deliberate. Only 1 opponent in 3 years has ever been able to win more than 5 of the Frontier symbols. Ash's pulse quickens. 1? 1. Annabelle's gaze sharpens. The Tower Tycoon sees battles differently. Their bond with their Pokemon is unusual. It allows them to predict, adapt, and counter in ways most trainers can't comprehend. That's why challengers usually lose consecutively. And after 3 losses at a battle facility, they are barred from challenging the Frontier again. A slow grin begins to spread across Ash's face. Now that's what I'm talking about. His fists clench with barely contained excitement. A trainer who never loses? That's the kind of challenge that I've been waiting for. Annabelle watches him carefully. Don't underestimate them, Ash. The Tower Tycoon isn't like others. Plan your team wisely. Standard strategies won't work. Ash meets Annabelle's gaze undaunted. Tell them to bring their best, because I sure will. Annabelle smiles, but as the sun dips low over the horizon, casting long shadows across the town, she can't help but to shake the feeling that something lingers around Ash, something unsettling. We should head back, she says, standing. Nurse Joy should be finished by now. Back at the Pokemon Center, their teams have been restored and are ready. Annabelle points towards a winding path that leads to the base of a distant mountain. The battle tower is just up there. I'll see you tomorrow, assuming my warning didn't scare you off. Ash laughs, undeterred. Not a chance. Tell the Tower Tycoon to get ready, because I'm coming for my 6th symbol. Annabelle's smile lingers as she turns away, but as she walks towards the tower, a chill runs down her spine. That presence around Ash, it feels familiar, and if it's what she thinks it is, I hope I'm wrong, she whispers to herself, her footsteps echoing in the gathering dust. For his sake, I hope I'm wrong. The next day, as the sun climbs to its highest point in the sky, Ash, Misty, and Brock arrive at the towering structure of the Battle Tower, its sleek surface gleaming under the bright midday light. The air hums with anticipation as they step forward, only to be greeted by Scott himself, his usual grin spread wide across his face. Ash, finally made it, huh? Scott calls out, arms spread in welcome. Ash, however, crosses his arms and smirks. Yeah, but you weren't here yesterday when I showed up. Scott rubs the back of his neck with a sheepish chuckle. You caught that. Well, I can't help it. I'm always out scouting new talent to challenge the battle frontier. Ash simply shakes his head, unfazed. It doesn't matter. We got to explore Creamini Town and even met somebody who works here at the Battle Tower. Scott's eyes light up in interest. Oh, the tower's got a lot of employees keeping things running, so it could have been anyone. He leans in, lowering his voice as if sharing a secret. But before you head in, there's something you should know about the Tower Tycoon. Ash cuts him off with a confident wave. Already know. The person we met yesterday told us. This frontier brain has only ever been defeated once. Scott blinks, taken aback. And that doesn't worry you? Ash's grin only widens, his eyes burning with determination. Worry me? Nah. If anything, it gets me pumped. This might be the first real challenge I've had since starting the frontier. Scott lets out a surprised laugh, shaking his head. Well, if you've got all the info, then let's head inside and get started. With that, he leads the group through the towering doors. The interior of the battle tower just as impressive as the exterior. Gleaming floors, high-tech screens displaying battle data, and the distant hum of excited spectators. But as they step further inside, Ash is about to realize there's one crucial detail he didn't learn. Scott gestures ahead with a flourish. Ash, Misty, and Brock, allow me to introduce you to the Tower Tycoon herself, Annabelle. Standing before them, arms crossed, and a serene smile on her lips, is none other than the same woman they had met the day before. Misty gasps, and Brock's eyes shoot up, and Ash's jaw drops. Wait, you're the frontier brain? Ash exclaims. Annabelle's smile doesn't waver. That's right, we did meet yesterday. Ash throws his hands up. Then why didn't you tell us? Annabelle tilts her head slightly, her voice calm but firm. Because I found a rare opportunity to truly know my opponent before the battle. Too often, things become clouded by competition. Trainers lose themselves, consumed by nothing but the hunger for victory. I wanted to see you, Ash, not just another challenger blinded by the need to win. Ash frowns, but there's no hesitation in his voice. Well, I'm not like your other opponents. I'm gonna win, because I'm the champion of Kanto, and my skills are on a whole nother level. Annabelle's gaze lingers on him for a moment, before she sighs softly. I hope so. With that, she turns and walks gracefully to her side of the battlefield, her movements smooth and deliberate. Over her shoulder, she calls out to Scott, "You'll referee as usual." Scott nods, moving to the center of the field while Misty and Brock take their seats in the spectators area. Ash watches as Scott assumes his position, finding it strange that he's not joining the others to watch, but he shakes it off. No time to dwell on it now. The battle is about to begin. Scott's voice rings out, clear and authoritative. This will be a 3-on-3 battle. Only Ash will be permitted substitutions. Trainers, send out your first Pokemon. Ash's finger tightened around a Pokeball, his pulse quickening. This is it. The moment he's been waiting for. Across from him, Annabelle remains eerily composed, her expression unreadable. The air cracks with tension. The battle for the battle tower is about to begin. The battle tower arena hums with tension as Ash calls upon his Rhydon to face off against Annabelle, which, much to the champion's surprise, her first choice is going to be Espeon. The moment the battle begins, Ash raises his fist with a fire determination. Rhydon hit him hard with Stone Edge. The ground type roars, slamming its massive arms into the ground, sending jagged rocks erupting towards Espeon, only for the sleek psychic type to glide effortlessly to the side, evading every strike. Annabelle stands serene, her eyes half lidded, as she communicates silently with Espeon through their psychic link. Calm mind, she thinks, and Espeon's body glows as its special attack and defense sharpen. Rhydon snarls, charging forward with a devastating Mega Horn, but Espeon leaps gracefully over the attack, its tail gleaming silver as it swings an Iron Tail into Rhydon's side. The super effective Steel-type move makes Rhydon grunt in pain, stumbling back. Ash grits his teeth. Why can't we land a hit? He clenches his fists. Earth Power! power, now! Rhydon stomps, sending a shockwave rippling through the ground, but Espeon bounds away, untouched, again and again. Ash's attack missed, his frustration mounting. Meanwhile, Annabelle remains silent, her Espeon weaving between strikes, using Calm Mind once more, its power growing with each passing second. Hey, Ash finally shouts, why aren't you giving any command? Scott, the referee, smirks from the sidelines. That's Annabelle's secret, Ash. She doesn't need to speak. Her bond with her Pokemon is so strong and complete, their minds are one. The moment she thinks a command, Espeon acts faster than words. Ash's eyes widen. That's not fair. How am I supposed to beat that? Scott crosses his arms. Life's not fair, kid, but this is the battle frontier. Only the best of the best make it through. Annabelle's only ever lost one of her last 100 battles. Only one trainer ever got past her, and that was her first match. So, what's it gonna be? You gonna whine, or are you gonna adapt? Ash glares, then steels himself. Rhydon, we can do this. We just gotta be stronger. Annabelle senses their frustration, just like all of the others. Predictable, she muses. Then without a word, she psychically signals Espeon. Baton pass. In a flash of light, Espeon retreats, replaced by a floating metallic form of Bronzong. Hey, Ash protests, you can't switch like that. Scott shakes his head. Baton pass is a legal move. Annabelle's strategy is flawless. It's your move, Ash. Our champion takes a deep breath, his fist trembling. He's never faced a trainer like this, but he won't back down. Fine, Rhydon, use Poison Jab, Ash commands in frustration. The ground type's fists glow and violent as it lunges, but Bronzong's steel body resists the poison. This catches Ash, as he would know that Poison Jab wouldn't have any effect against the steel type. His frustration is beginning to get to him. Ash grits his teeth as Rhydon stumbles, clearly outmatched by Annabelle's towering Bronzong. With a quick flash of light, he recalls his exhausted Pokemon and turns to Pikachu, telling it, "You're up, buddy. Let's use speed to our advantage." Pikachu leaps onto the field, cheeks sparkling with determination. Annabelle smiles serenely, her psychic bond with Bronzong humming in the air. A clever switch, Ash, but Bronzong's defenses are unmatched. Let's see how your Pikachu fares. The battle erupts instantly, and Pikachu darts forward with a quick attack, zigzagging around Bronzong's bulky frame. The steel bell retaliates with a gyro ball, spinning rapidly, but Pikachu's agility keeps him just out of reach. Seizing an opening, Ash shouts, "Now, Thunderbolt!" A crackling bolt strikes Bronzong, its steel typing conducting the electricity, but the psychic type bell barely flinches, its light screen shimmering in place, dulling the attack. Annabelle's voice remains calm. Extra Sentry, she commands through their psychic link. Bronzong's eyes glow as an invisible force slams Pikachu, sending it skidding back. Ash winces but retaliates. Shake it off, Iron Tail! Pikachu's tail gleams as it leaps, striking Bronzong with a metallic clang, but the steel type barely budges. Bronzong retaliates with a Shadow Ball at the command of its trainer. A swirling orb of dark energy crashes into Pikachu. The electric mouse cries out, panting heavily. Ash clenches his fist. This isn't going well. Then an idea strikes. One last shot, Pikachu. Volt Tackle, full power. Pikachu's body ignites in a blinding surge of electricity as it rockets forward. Annabelle's eyes widen. Meet it with Gyro Ball. Bronzong spins furiously, gathering momentum before hurling itself towards Pikachu. The two collide in a spectacular explosion of light and force, but Pikachu's electric might overwhelms Bronzong, sending it crashing into the ground, defeating it. However, the recoil from the Volt Tackle takes its toll, and Pikachu staggers and then collapses, fainting from the exhaustion. The battlefield falls silent. Annabelle recalls Bronzong, nodding in respect. A draw then. Your Pikachu's spirit is incredible, Ash. However, our champion scoops up his partner with a tired grin. Yeah, it really is, he says, a bit dismayed, as Pikachu may have been his best chance at being able to take home the win. Not wanting to expose a third and final choice to the battle until he has a clear plan laid out in front of him, Ash decides to send back in Rhydon, its heavy breaths a testament to the battle that it had already fought. Across the field, Annabelle's Espeon stands poised as its sleek fur glistens under the arena lights. Ash grits his teeth. This is the chance that he has to turn the tide, but Espeon's speed and psychic prowess makes it a dangerous foe. Rhydon, we need to hit it hard. Use Stone Edge, Ash commands, thrusting a fist forward. Rhydon roars, slamming its massive arms into the ground once again. Jagged rocks erupt towards Espeon, but Annabelle doesn't flinch. Calm Mind, she says through their psychic link, her voice serene. Espeon's eyes glows as the body shimmers with psychic energy, its special attack and defense rising sharply. The Stone Edge crashes down, only for Espeon to dart aside effortlessly, the attack missing it by inches. Ash growls. It's too fast. Earth Power, now! Rhydon stomps, sending a shockwave rippling through the ground. The earth trembles, but Espeon leaps gracefully into the air, avoiding the tremor before it landing with the feline's grace. Annabelle smiles. Again, Calm Mind, she says psychically. Another surge of energy envelops Espeon, its power growing even further. Ash clenches his fist. If this keeps up, Espeon will become unstoppable. Fine, we have to go for raw power. Poison Jab. Rhydon charges forward, its fist glowing toxic and purple. But Espeon's eyes flash. Psychic. A crushing wave of invisible force slams into Rhydon mid-step, halting its assault. The ground type groans as the energy of the psychic type attack sears at its mind, its massive frame bulking over from the assault. Ash curses under his breath. Hang in there, Rhydon. One more. Mega Horn. The ground type shakes off the pain, its horror glowing while it lunges forward. But Espeon is already moving. Baton Pass, Annabelle says calmly through their psychic link. In a flash of light, Espeon vanishes, replacing her with her final Pokemon, Oranguru. the sage-like normal psychic type. The stat boost of Calm Mind linger, now transferred to the newcomer. Ash's stomach drops. No way. He's been outplayed again. Rhydon is already weakened, now faces an empowered Orangu. This battle isn't over, but the odds have shifted once more. However, as things are tense and Ash wipes the sweat from his brow, his Rhydon pants heavily before him. Across the field, Annabelle's Orangu stands poised, its eyes glowing with eerie calm. Trick Room warps the dimensions around them at the command of Annabelle, slowing Rhydon's movements even more, while amplifying its own. Ash grits his teeth. He knows that he's being outplayed. You were so focused on my setup, you didn't even see the trap closing, Annabelle says with a smirk. Now, let's finish this. Rhydon roars, its massive horn gleaming as it charges forward with the Mega Horn at the command of its trainer, slamming into Orangu with crushing force. The psychic type staggers, but doesn't fail, as this is exactly what Annabelle was wanting. With another nod from her psychic link, she commands for an energy ball. Orangu raises its hand, summoning a swirling orb of green energy, before launching it point blank. The grass type attack strikes Rhydon so hard that its rock ground typing can't take the damage, and it doubles over. However, it refuses to quit, and Ash clenches his fist. Stone Edge! Finish it! Rhydon summons Jagged Rocks once again, and hurls them in the direction of Orangu. But Trick Room's twisted dimensions slow the attack just enough for it to evade. Too slow, Annabelle taunts, before she thinks, Focus Blast! Orangu's palms glow with searing fighting-type energy before it unleashes a devastating Focus Blast directly into Rhydon's chest. The super effective hit sends the drill Pokemon crashing to the ground, finally knocked out. Ash recalls Rhydon, his expression grim, as he reaches for his last Pokeball. You've played right into my hands, Annabelle says, her voice smooth, just like all of the others before you. Ash exhales sharply, gripping the ball tighter. This battle isn't over yet, but Annabelle holds all of the advantage. As the air in the battle tower grows thick with tension, Ash stands frozen in the middle of the battlefield, his fist clenched at his side, desperation radiating off of him like a storm, dark and suffocating. Something Annabelle knows all too well. She's felt this before, countless times over the years, like an unwelcoming ghost haunting the edge of her awareness. And now, it's back, clinging to Ash like a second shadow. Her focus wavers, her usual sharp battle instincts dulled by the weight of his turmoil. She knows deep down that this fight is already over. They just going through the motions at this point. Scott watches her carefully, his keen eye catching the flicker of disinterest on her face. He lets out a slow, disappointed sigh. He had hoped, really hoped, that Ash would be the one to finally push Annabelle to her limits, to reignite the fire challenge in her. But even a champion-level trainer isn't enough. Still, the battle isn't finished. Ash, Scott calls, his voice steady but firm. Send out your last Pokemon. Annabelle nods in agreement, though her usual intensity is missing. Let's finish this, she says, but her words lack their usual bite. Ash grits his teeth, his mind racing. How can I compete with her? Her bond with her Pokemon is seamless. Her psychic link makes them an unstoppable force. It's like fighting against the tide itself. But then, an idea strikes him. A reckless, dangerous one. His lip curls into a determined grin. It's not over yet, Ash declares, his voice laced with newfound confidence. I've still got one Pokemon left. One that can turn this around. With a swift motion, he hurls a Pokeball onto the field. In a flash of light, his Kadabra materializes, its spoon glinting ominously under the gym lights. Ash's excitement is palpable, but Annabelle's reaction is immediate. Her breath catches, her eyes wide in alarm. That dark cloud around Ash. Now she sees it clearly. Ash, she says, her voice uncharacteristically urgent. You can't use this Kadabra. Ash blinks, taken aback. What? Why not? Annabelle steps forward, her usual calm replaced by something sharper. There's something wrong with it. I can feel it. You're planning to open your mind to it, aren't you? To battle like I do. Ash smirks, crossing his arms. Sounds like you're scared of someone might actually beat you at your own game. Annabelle's expression hardens. This isn't about winning or losing. Without years of training, what you're trying to do is dangerous. This Kadabra's mind is fractured. If you link with it, you'll lose control. It will take over you. Ash shakes his head stubbornly. I know what I'm doing. Kadabra's my final choice. Scott exhales, rubbing his temple. It's his call, Annabelle, but even he can see it, the genuine concern in her eyes. For the first time since he's known her, Annabelle looks afraid. That alone sends a chill down Scott's spine. In the stance, Misty grips the railing, her knuckles white. Something's wrong, she mutters. Brock's jaw tightens. Ash, what are you thinking? The battle begins, and Ash locks eyes with Kadabra. We're gonna fight like them, he says. Open your mind to mine. Together we can beat her. Kadabra tilts its head, considering. Annabelle is strong. Stronger than Paul, possibly. Stronger than Curlia. If this makes it stronger, then so be it. Kadabra's eyes begin to glow in psychic energy as it opens up the links between its mind and Ash's. Then, the moment their minds connect, everything goes wrong. A surge of raw psychic power erupts, slamming into Ash like a tidal wave. His eyes snap wide, glowing in an eerily unnatural blue. A guttural cry tears from his throat as Kadabra's fractured psyche floods into him, twisting his thoughts, drowning his will. Annabelle's voice cuts through the chaos. The battle's cancelled. She doesn't hesitate. Espeon, Alakazam, she calls upon as it materializes next to Orangu in a flash of light, their combined psychic might surging forward to contain the out-of-control Kadabra. But even they struggle. The air crackles with unstable energy, the tower trembling under the force of the psychic storm. Annabelle reaches out, her mind stretching towards Ash, fighting through the maelstrom. She sees him, trapped, drowning in a whirlpool of Kadabra's rage. "Ash!" she yells. Then, a deafening explosion of psychic energy detonates, hurling everyone backwards. Dust swirls, screens flicker, and for a long, terrifying moment, silence. Then, coughing, Annabelle pushes herself up. Scott staggers to his feet beside her, and Misty and Brock rush forward, their voices frantic. In the center of the ruined battlefield, Ash and Kadabra lie motionless, unconscious, the aftermath of the battle that became something far worse. And this is where we are going to end things for now. So tell me, how did you feel about this part? What do you think is going on between Spencer and Brandon over on Metallica Island? And where exactly is the next site of the next Reggie and its emergence? And why is Spencer so hesitant on letting any more of them awaken? How about Meowth? What exactly was it up to on the island when it was unaccounted for while Jesse was with Brandon and Spencer? And let's not forget Jesse and Meowth. Where exactly are they headed to next? And what secrets was Spencer still keeping from Jesse? How about the incident that Brock had with his mother and the gym battle that he had to do with Paul in order to make up for it? And the revelation that he has acquired the ability to Mega Evolve his Steelix. Did you guys enjoy that portion of the story? And then let's not forget about the frontier battle that Ash just had with Annabelle. Ash has finally met a trainer that is better than he is, and he didn't know how to rise to the challenge. So, in a moment of desperation, he foregoed the warnings of Sabrina before her, and now Annabelle, in order to try and battle on her level. And as a result, Kadabra took over his mind, and complete and total chaos erupted from the entire event. What does this mean for Ash going forward in the battle frontier, and how is it going to affect him in the rest of this what-if scenario? Let me know your guys' thoughts, comments, and theories down below. And as always, thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one.